Hello everybody, this is Red Vinyl Kitty, and also Dongalore, though you probably won't see him. He is hanging out in the room today, so if the camera suddenly jostles to the right, you'll know why. And green tea. And today's video is a 6-month update on having my Enterra Device installed. When I used to blog, I used to do an update every 6 months and then a year after I had a major surgery to talk about whether I felt like the surgery was worth it or not. Because I think a lot of people out there are also going through the same things I am. I know that I'm not alone having gastroparesis or having the surgeries that I've had, because obviously an ostomy is not just for gastroparesis, and the Enterra Device has other uses, although I think it was originally designed for gastroparesis. They're using it for a few other reasons now, I believe. But I can't obviously comment on those reasons. I'm just going to talk today about how I feel it's worked for me in the last 6 months. So we had the device put in, and if you've been following my vlogs, you saw that it was very last minute. It took well over 6 months to get insurance approval to have the device. A lot of insurance don't want you to have it, and the doctor's office that we had to work with was very difficult to work with. I've had a lot of surgeries, and I've never had a surgeon's office be this uncommunicative or difficult to work with, so that was hard too. But there are not very many people who work with this device in particular. It's expensive. You require special training for it. You require special training for a lot of surgeries, but there's just not a lot of people who work with this device. And they were being so difficult just getting back to us and stuff that we actually considered speaking with another surgeon. But the next closest surgeon was in another state. So we can't fly out to another state for post-op and all of that. So that'll give you an idea of how difficult it is to find a surgeon who works with the Enterra Device. It's very difficult to find somebody. So that was a barrier. The surgeon himself is great, but it was just really hard working with his office. So once we got through dealing with his office and we got the device installed, at the time, it was the most brutal surgery that I had ever had. Master Pravis and me had a very tough time healing with that. I had a hard time walking around the house. I had a hard time sitting up. I had a hard time getting around. It was really difficult, and before I went in, they had told me it was going to be the size of a Zippo lighter, but once I was in the hospital, they said, oh no, it's more like a deck of cards. So it's pretty big. I mean, it's not huge, but if you can imagine a deck of cards is pretty big. The size of it would not have deterred me from getting it done, because if you need it, you need it. But it's still something that you'd want to know up front. So if you're somebody who's thinking about getting this, or you need to get it, I'm here to inform you that it's about the size of a deck of cards. Hi, Dongalore. So bigger than I originally expected. And one thing that I was really thrilled about with it, though, is that it didn't need any maintenance from me. That is, with my ostomy, I have to change bandages and things, and with my port, we have to change a needle, we have to deal with dressings. The device is completely under my skin, So, like, you can swim with it, you can shower, you don't have to change out a dressing. That is good. That is something that was a complete relief. So, as far as all that goes, that was fine. And we knew that going into it too, but it's just really good to know ahead of time too, if you're not sure, that you won't have to worry, you know, oh God, do I have to worry about doing anything to this? Well, is it on the outside of my skin? It's on the inside of your skin, so that's really nice.
There are some worries.
There are some worries. So, in the 6 months that I've had this, here have been the downsides. First of all, before the surgery, they had told me that if I was one of the people it would work for, and they had said that it does not work for everybody, and the only thing that it does is it will take away my nausea, it won't make my stomach go any faster. But if I was one of the people that it would work for, then I'd know pretty quickly. After the surgery, we found out that it can actually take up to a year to find out if it's really helping you. And they set the device really low, so you don't really feel like anything's going on. And then they have to slowly adjust it up to find what level works for you, if a level will work for you. And it's also battery powered. So I will need maintenance surgeries on it. Hi, Dongalore. Forever. If I choose to keep it. So that kind of sucks. Now, we did know I'd need maintenance surgery on it. You can't recharge the battery from the outside, and we knew that. But if it was something that was going to help me and help save my life, then absolutely we wanted to do it because we were running out of options. So we went ahead with it. Another downside to the device is that nobody knows about it. When I say nobody knows about it, I mean other medical professionals have never heard of it. So I'll bring the booklet that comes with it when I go to have procedures done, and I'll say, look, I can have this test done or that test done. There's a whole list of what you can and can't have done with the device because it could hurt you or it could hurt the device or both. And repairing the device means surgery. Because like I said, it's inside of you, not an external device. So, since nobody's heard of it, most of the times we get blown off. They don't listen to me. They don't listen to me. They don't listen to Master Pravis. And they just say, oh, it's fine, everyone can have that test, don't worry about it. And I'll say, no, listen, I cannot have that test. Specifically, they listen to me when I say I can't have an MRI because to their ear, even if they've never heard of the Enterra device, having a metal electronic thing in an MRI machine sounds like you can't do that. So they listen to me and they don't put me in an MRI machine. However, nobody seems to understand that I cannot have an ultrasound. I cannot have an ultrasound. I tell them this. I try to show them documentation that says I cannot have an ultrasound. And they don't listen to me, or they'll go, sure. And I actually had one instance where I had to have surgery. They put me to sleep for the surgery, and they did an ultrasound anyway. I didn't talk about this on my vlog. I did talk about it on Twitter. And we had to file a complaint with the hospital, and it didn't do much. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, you should sue the hospital, but you can't sue the hospital unless something serious happened. And don't take this video as legal advice. This is just what I've been told. If I had needed my device surgically replaced, or if I had died, thank goodness nothing of that nature happened, we could have sued the hospital. What wound up happening is, I went to sleep for the procedure, They used an ultrasound on me, even though I told them they absolutely could not. And when I woke up, my cheek was numb. It's still numb. I don't know if it will heal or not. I hope that it will, but it hasn't come back yet. And my device had turned off. So we're not sure entirely why my cheek is numb, but ultrasound can affect your device. So if you're going to have ultrasound, you're supposed to turn the device off, but even if the device is turned off, the ultrasound machine has to stay 6 inches away from the device at all times. So if you're going to be asleep, you absolutely don't want anybody with an ultrasound anywhere near you, because they don't understand that it can't go close to your device. So they may put it right on top of or next to your device. And what happened is they turned my device off. Now, I was lucky. It could have gone a lot worse. They could have seriously injured me. I could have had one of the wires in my device short. I don't know. Something awful could have happened. I mean, I just have a numb cheek, and the reason why we knew to go back to the surgeon and have him check the device is the next day I woke up and I was so nauseous. And me and Master Pravis were like, oh God, what did they do to you during surgery?
We were worried that you were having an allergic reaction to something they gave you in the anesthesia.
Yeah, I had thought, oh geez, did they give me some kind of medicine I've never had before? What is this? This is so strange, because usually anesthesia will make me sleepy, but it's not like the next day I'm sleepy, just the day of, you know? And then I got back the report from the surgery, and it said they used ultrasound, and I said, oh my God, they probably damaged my device. So we had to go to my surgeon and have my device looked at. So it is a major downside that nobody understands what the Enterra Device is, because they won't listen to me. I can stamp my feet and shove papers in their face. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And they promised me, they said, look, we won't use ultrasound, promise. And as soon as I was completely unconscious, they did. So it's tough. Now, at that point, up until that point, me and Master Pravis had said, you know, maybe at a year, we won't keep the device. Maybe when they have to replace the battery, we'll have them take the battery and the device out, because it's not like you're eating better. In fact, I'm actually eating worse and less, and that's why they eventually wound up putting a feeding tube in. Eventually, my blood work just got terrible, and they said, we're just going to put a feeding tube in. And we said, is this device doing anything beside putting me at risk for danger with, you know, people giving me ultrasounds and all of that? However, when my device got shut off, my quality of life got so much worse immediately. Like, the next day it was so obvious. Like, we had thought that it was the anesthesia, but it became obvious that it was the device. So now we see that the device is really helping with my nausea, and we don't want to get rid of it. What we really want is for people to be aware of what the device is and have them listen to me and just not perform things on me that they're not supposed to. And, you know, that's tough, especially because I'm the kind of person who advocates for myself very well and very noisily. And I went in there saying, you can't do this and you can't do that. I have this electric device. So it's tough. If I have to go to the ER, I deal with the same thing. Nobody believes that I can't have an ultrasound because I can't turn it off in the ER. So there's no way I could have one there. So that's tough. I can't really think of any other downsides.
Security gates.
Oh,
Metal detectors.
Thank you. Good thing Master Pravis brought that up, because I almost forgot. Security gates and metal detectors can turn off your device. that is a bummer. So if you're going to go flying and you go through a security gate, you think you're going to Florida, you're going to have a great time, your device can get shut off.
And you're going to be so sick.
You're going to have the worst vacation of your life. You're going to spend your vacation with your head in a toilet if you can't find someone who deals with the device down there who will see you and push a few buttons to turn it back on. So that's a problem. Also, if I'm going to even Best Buy, it's important that I walk exactly in between the security gates there, because it can hurt my device. It can turn my device on or off if I go too close.
And it can shock you.
Yeah, I hear that it can shock you.
Like if you just get too close to the security gate, the magnetic interaction can cause you to get a shock, a painful shock.
I hear it can cause that, but I haven't had one yet. So I've been lucky, but other people can have that. So I think that, but even still, even with that, I'm not a big jet setter, so I would still get it because it's been a huge help in my quality of life. My nausea has gone down a lot, and I use a lot less nausea medicine now than I did before.
When it accidentally got turned off, you were using every nausea medicine you had access to, every time you could have it, continuously.
It was terrible.
All three overlapping, and it was not working.
It was not good. No, it was not good. But without it, it was even worse. So, in my case, I would get the stimulator. And that's in 6 months. So I guess I will be back to talk to you about how the stimulator is going at a year. Because I don't expect anything else to happen with it. It's one of those things that's really subtle and you don't notice it day to day unless it gets turned off. And then you do notice it and you're like, oh my. But for me, it hasn't been one of those things that we turned it on and we turned it up and it was like, wow, I can eat again. We were really hoping, because for some people it is like that, but for me, it has not been like, oh, wow, I can eat hamburgers again. It's nothing like that at all. It's helped keep my nausea down, but it hasn't gotten my nausea to the point where I can just eat at all. So, if I were considering getting it again, even though I have to deal with advocating for myself when I have surgery, and even though a lot of medical professionals don't understand about the device, I would still get it because it has helped me so much. And what we really need to do as patients is just be really loud about what we need and just tell them, I have this device. And the more people that have this device and keep talking about, I can't have this procedure, the more they'll hear it. And if they hear it, it won't be a surprise the next time. So I just hope more people don't go through that. I'm sure they do, unfortunately, but I hope that there are less people going through it at my hospital anyway, because I said something after I had to go back to my surgeon and have it turned back on. So I guess that is everything that I have to say about the device at this point. And I will talk to you again in 6 months for my year update on my Enterra device. Meow. Bye, everybody. Who's a good boy? Mommy's good boy. Yes, you are. Your mommy's good boy. Mommy's good little purr boy. Mommy loves you.